This is your Bible Geeks Daily Download. Precious. Reading J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, I fell in love with a strange little creature named Gollum. He was funny and relatable, but also seemed a bit crazy as he obsessed over a ring, his precious, and talked to himself. Stuck for years by himself in a dark cave, he tended to say things like, "We wants it, we needs it, must have the precious." Talking to yourself can seem silly, if not insane, but in a way, we're always in dialogue with ourselves. We just don't usually do it out loud. So let's talk about what we tell ourselves. We usually call it thinking to ourselves. That's actually how Jesus describes the internal dialogue of a guy we now call the rich fool. As the man saw the excellent yield his farm produced, he thought to himself, "What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops." So he had a talk with himself, and together they worked out a plan. It was his retirement plan. Every one of him in the conversation seems to share a single concern, which is his pleasure. How nice to have such a unity of thought. Now listen in on this one-man conversation in Luke 12 and verse 19. "And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.'" Like Gollum, this man wanted what he wanted, and when he spoke to himself, it was about his favorite subject, himself. If you're bold enough to look under the hood and examine your self-talk, prepare to learn some hard truths about what you value. Eavesdropping on yourself is not for the faint of heart. But let's not miss what God tells us. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to our inner dialogue is for God to insert himself into the conversation. And that is how Jesus' story of the rich fool ends. "But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be?'" Luke 12, verse 20. We like to convince ourselves we won't die, to distract ourselves and tell ourselves not to think about dying. God's voice wants to break into our thoughts too. He would remind us of a hard truth. We are mortal. So what are you telling yourself about your life? Are you clutching your precious treasures or investing your life in the lasting words of God? Do you live with the fact that some unexpected night, your soul will be required of you? Pretending death isn't around the corner for all of us, that is crazy. May the Lord interrupt our thoughts today with his precepts more precious than gold. Thanks for tuning in, and may the Lord bless you and keep you today.